Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Alertus Power Lunch verifying system functionality. As I stated before, my name is Brooke, and I am a trainer here at Alertus. During this session, we will cover best practices for verifying the functionality of your Alertus system, ensuring that it's always ready to perform when you need it most. Today, we are joined by Sarah from the training team, who will be leading the conversation. This is also an interactive session, so please feel free to ask any questions using the Q&A feature. And please be aware that the session is being recorded for training purposes. All right, without further introduction, Sarah, let's get started.
Awesome. Thank you, Brooke. That sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can take a look at my console. So as Brooke said, today's focus is going to be system functionality and making sure you're checking in that everything is working smoothly and all of your activations are going out as they should. So to get things started, I'm going to send a quick preset so that we can look at the reports after and make sure everything was as expected. So I'm going to go ahead to this preset activation page. And just for our purposes, I'm going to select this all clear preset. But if you're sending out a system test or any emergency alert, it's good to always check the reports after just to make sure everything went out correctly. But today I'm just going to send this all clear alert. So I selected it to send that preset. I'm just going to hit continue. And then before sending this activation, you do have some ways that you can check how it's going to go out. For example, I can see these are the delivery methods or the types of devices I'm targeting. I can also see the groups who this alert is going out to. And then before I send it, I can also see the total devices I'm targeting, as well as how many are actually online at this moment, ready to receive that alert. So I'm going to go ahead and hit send. So I can see that alert is active in the system. I did get that notification. There it is. I'm going to go ahead and click acknowledge just to close that alert from my computer. And then I'm also going to cancel that activation early by hitting that cancel button here. All right, so now that we have sent out an activation, I recommend after every activation or beforehand as well, checking these reports on the left side here. All of these reports will give you very valuable insight into your current system status and health, and you can also double check how those activations were delivered. So we're going to start by taking a peek at this alert history report here. So this alert history report will display a list of the 40 most recent alerts that have been sent out by your system, sorted in reverse chronological order. If you need to see beyond the 40 most recent, you can also download a complete history as a CSV by clicking this button here. But as you can see, this top alert is the message that we just sent out, that all clear alert. So if I click on this message text, it will give me some more information. For example, I can see who sent that alert. I can see the status is finished because it's canceled, etc. But this alert history report is also super helpful because it has these attached reports that give you even more information and insight into how that message was delivered. So we'll take a peek next at this device activations report that is attached. So this report will give you activation information for the alert that you just sent out. So at the top, there's more general alert information like we saw on the previous page. But if you keep scrolling down, here's a summary of device activations. So you can see here's my desktop that was activated in less than 10 seconds. That was 100% of my desktops. Also in that preset alert, I included 2 alert beacons and 2 text-to-speech speakers that were offline, so they were not activated. And I knew that those were offline, so I'm expecting this, but if you were expecting them to activate and they didn't, that would give you a reason to want to go and check out those devices. But if you keep scrolling down, you'll see a chart with that same information. And then finally at the bottom, you can see for each device, specifically if it was activated, how long that took, or if it did not activate because it was offline. You can also search for a specific device here if you're looking to check something specific. But after device activations, I also want to take a peek at this device acknowledgements report. So this will give you specific acknowledgement information for each of your devices. So like when I pressed that acknowledge button on my desktop, that's what I can see here. And you can also acknowledge an alert beacon if you hold down the 2 front buttons. But if you scroll down, again, there's general information at the top, and then I can see for each device if it was acknowledged, and then also if it was not acknowledged. So this is a good way to check who or what devices are being interacted with. So again, for each device, you can see if it was acknowledged and how long that took. And then the last attached report here is this user recipients report. So this is kind of like a combination of device activations and device acknowledgements, but for specific logged in users. So this is a helpful place to check your desktop information so you can see exactly whose computer was activated and then if that was acknowledged. So I can see, for example, this user is myself logged into my laptop. I can see that my computer was activated in 4 seconds, and then I press that acknowledge button after 16 seconds. So again, it's a good place to check if those activations are going out and then who is actually interacting and acknowledging them. So awesome. So after this alert history report, another super helpful one for system maintenance is this device status report. So this is the best place to go to get up to the minute status information about all of your devices. So you can see at the top here, I can tell that my desktop is online. It's in white here and it's currently checking in with the server. So that means it's able to get those activations. But any device in yellow here is inactive. So for desktops, that means they've not checked in with the server for 3 minutes or longer. So they likely would not be able to get those alerts that we're sending out. And then finally, any of these devices in red are completely offline. So that means they have not checked in with the server since the last time it was restarted, which you can see for me, I restarted my server on October 1st. So none of those devices have checked in since then. You can also scroll to the side here to see additional device information. For example, you can see IP addresses, you can see the last time they checked in with the server, you can see the current logged in user, etc. And you can also customize what information you want to see in this chart. If you come to this add/remove column section, you have a lot of options for what you would want to include, and you can just check anything you want to show up, and then you can uncheck it if you want to hide it. And you can also click and drag entries up towards the top, which moves them to the left-hand side of the chart, so they're at the front and easy to see really quickly. You can also filter by the types of devices you want to look for at the top here. So for example, if I just wanted to see information about my desktops, I can just check those. And then you can also filter by their online status. If you just want to see offline devices at the top, for example, you could do that. And again, you can also search for a specific device if you're looking to check in to see information about anything in particular. But awesome. So after this device status report, I next want to take a look at a few of these membership reports. We'll start with this group memberships report here. So this is a good way that you can check which devices are in each of the groups that you have created on your server, just to make sure that you know if it says you're targeting building 1, you know exactly what devices are in that group and what devices should be expected to get that message. So for example, if I click this building 1 group, I can see all of these devices are included. For example, there's my computer. I can also see any contacts that are assigned to that group, as well as any mobile users that have joined that group with the Alertus mobile recipient app. And then this report is also helpful. This link above here will allow you to view alert devices that are not assigned to any groups. So this can be helpful to notice if you've missed anything and if there's anything that's not in the group that it should be in. You can see that here. But similarly to group memberships, we can also check location memberships with this location memberships report. So you can use locations on your server to filter recipients for activations and also just to provide more specific device information by assigning them to a location. So you can see I've created this Alertus HQ location here, and I can see all of these desktops or all of these devices, this desktop and these 2 alert beacons are included in that location. And then similarly to the group memberships report, you can also click the link above to view any devices that are not currently assigned to a location. So again, you can check if you've missed anything when you've made those assignments. And then the last membership report here, the mobile membership reports, is where you can see information about the Alertus mobile recipient app and who's joined there. But the last report I wanted to feature today is this system activity report. And this is also a very helpful report for checking in with your current system activity and just making sure that everything is working correctly. For example, from this report, you can see any system errors or warnings. You can also see any time there is an activation or anytime someone new logs in or anytime someone makes a configuration change. So there's a ton of system information here. You can also filter the information you want to see by categories or levels. So for example, if you only wanted to see system errors, you could just select those, and this will show you any system errors within the date that you've selected up here. And then you can also click the details button on the side to get even more specific information about that error. So awesome. So those are the reports. Again, I definitely recommend checking these often to get a current status update and also just ensure that everything's going out correctly. But after the dashboards, I also want to after the reports, I also want to take a look at one of the dashboards here. I wanted to show the event dashboard here today as well. This event dashboard will show you any events that have been processed by the Alertus system. And some of these events include panic button presses or any events received from third-party integrations or any weather feeds that you might be monitoring. So for example, any of these CAP events here are coming in from my weather feed that I'm monitoring based on how my threat watcher is configured. But if you scroll down, I do have a lot of weather events, as you can see, but there's also ones coming in from an RSS feed, and you would also see panic button events or any third-party events showing up as sensor events here. But this event dashboard is really helpful, again, for system maintenance and troubleshooting, because next to every event, it gives you details and more information. But then most importantly, it also gives you the processing details. So it will tell you what actions your server took in response to that event. So for example, I can see when this tornado watch event came in that my server saw that matched with custom event trigger number 7. So I sent this particular alert with it, which if I check on it, this custom event trigger is the one that I have set up for those tornado watches coming in. So I can see that it did send out that tornado watch preset alert that I had created as expected. But again, you can double check here just to make sure you have all of those events and the related custom event triggers set up correctly. But that's everything I wanted to take a look at in the console today. But there are some additional settings in the Alertus middleware that you can set up and enable to provide active system monitoring. And again, just another way that you can double check that everything is set up and working correctly. So we'll go ahead and take a look at these middleware settings. You can access the middleware from the bottom left here. And this middleware section is only available to system administrators. So if you don't see the middleware button here, you probably just don't have access to it yet. But I'm going to go ahead and click on middleware to bring us up to this page. And then I'm going to click the top left link here to go into the middleware settings. So there's a lot that you can do here kind of in the back end to set up your server and its functionality. But we're going to take a deep dive here into the notification and monitoring section for this power lunch. So this notification and monitoring section gives you configuration options that let you monitor certain aspects of your system and get notifications anytime something changes or something is unexpected. So the top here, this recipient email address is the email address or the list of email addresses that will receive those notification and monitoring emails. So if you do want to include multiple emails here, you just separate them with a comma. But after that, you can select what event types you want to be detected and reported with those system monitoring notifications. So these are definitely a lot of very helpful things to be aware of. For example, you can elect to be monitored anytime there's a new system error, an IP check-in failure, anytime devices are working on battery only or have low battery. You can also be notified anytime you have panic buttons you need to reset or any USB panic button check-in failures. So there's a lot of options here. You can, of course, just check the ones you want to see, uncheck it if you're not looking for it. So you can really customize what notifications are sent to you. And then the last part in this top section here is the assurance monitoring. So again, as it says on the right-hand side, if this assurance monitoring is checked, that means the Alertus server will send nightly system and usage data to the Alertus gateway. So then Alertus would be able to use that information to provide remote monitoring for customers insured or enrolled in that assurance monitoring option. So that just means there would be more eyes kind of checking in and looking to make sure that everything is going as it should. And then if you do choose to disable that, that just means that the server would not be able to connect to that Alertus gateway. But the next section here is the activation notifier section. So if this is enabled, then you would be able to get an email notifying any recipients with the emails above that the Alertus system has sent out an alert. So that's a good way to check what's going on and what's being sent out. And then this will also notify you if there is an activation that you weren't expecting. You'd be able to see that it was sent out really quickly, so you can just double check and make sure that everything looks good. And then the next section down here is the active system monitor. So if this is enabled, that means that it would be proactively monitoring your Alertus system and associated devices, and then sending an email if any issues are identified. So some of the things that this would be looking for would be any alert beacons that have not checked in for a period of time, any alert beacons running on battery power, or any alert beacons with low or defective batteries or communication problems. So if you are using a lot of alert beacons in your system, I definitely recommend this active system monitoring feature, because it's just another way that you can be informed if there are any issues with those devices. So you can set settings like the execution interval, the notification quiet minutes, and then you can read, of course, the description on this side here to get more information about what each of these settings mean. And then the final section in this active system monitoring page is this daily digest report. So if this is enabled, then it would generate a daily snapshot report of the Alertus system in an HTML formatted email. So again, the information that would be included in this daily digest report would be any alert beacons that haven't checked in, alert beacons that need to be configured, alert beacons running on battery power, and any alert beacons with low and defective batteries. So if you do want to have a daily snapshot of what's going on with those devices, you can enable this to get that generate that daily snapshot for you. And then the final section I wanted to briefly touch on as well is this server maintenance section. So this could be a good place to check out if you want to be ensuring that your server health is optimal and that you don't have any unnecessary information or data taking up space and slowing things down. So you have the option here to enable an Alertus disk cleanup job, which would be a utility to free up space on your server. So it would delete any old logs or old system backups that you're not currently using. So this is really helpful if you have thousands of devices and you have a lot of information that takes up a lot of space. And currently this is only supported on Alertus servers running on Windows, just to note. But if you decide to enable it, you can set a daily execution time for when it would check in and clean up this extra information. And then you can also set how many logs you want to keep, how many backups you want to keep, just to make sure that you're not getting rid of anything that you do want to preserve as a backup. And then the last section down here, similarly, there is a data cleanup job, which will control the system job that can help you delete old alerts, events, and system events. So like we took a look at in that alert history report and on that event dashboard, you can store events going back for a very long time. But if you don't need all of that information, you can choose to delete old alerts and events here. And that again would just free up some space to make sure that your server is able to run optimally. And then I'm gonna just move back up to the top here. There is a link to this notification and monitoring page in the Alertus customer portal. And I believe Brooke has the link to share that as well. And I believe I see in the chat, she just shared it. Thank you, Brooke. So if you want to learn more about all of these options for setting up this notification and monitoring, there is a knowledge base article there to walk you through it. But that was all that I had planned to share for our session today, but I see that we still have a few minutes left. So if anyone has any questions, I would be happy to answer those. If you want to put them in the chat or the Q&A feature, we'll stick around to see if we have any questions.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Great information. I also did see some attendees pop in late. This session has been recorded and will be sent out to registrants, and also will be uploaded to the events tab in our helpalertus.com. So don't worry if you missed some great stuff. Thank you for attending, and thank you, James, for the comment. I'm not seeing any questions coming in as of now, but if you do, we'll hang on here for another minute or so, and we'll be here to answer anything on this Friday.
Yeah. And I hope everyone has a great weekend. And again, thank you all for attending, and hopefully you'll continue to check out some future power lunches. We do have these sessions every week, just quick 30-minute sessions to get some more information. So if you're able to attend, we definitely love to see you there.
All right, I'm not seeing any more questions. So I think we're gonna log off for the day, but hope to see you at future power lunches. And thank you again, Sarah.
Of course, thank you.